even if it becomes unpopular, how would you respond to increasing state and federal restrictions on trans and queer existence, especially in the state of Iowa?
So is the question like how much I would fight them?
How much would you fight them?
I would not care if I did not get a single damn vote. I would fight it. Like, to me, people have the right to exist. People have the right to be who they are. And I've actually had people tell me when I'm defending their rights that I've lost their vote, and my answer is I would never had it if that was what costed it, because that is not a controversial subject to me. That is something that nobody has the right to tell somebody who they are when they know. And on the more specific subject, we get asked a lot about, trans youth sports. To me, it's just insulting to think that kids should not be able to play sports because they are not, what people think they are, and that people would want to label them as, when youth sports do nothing except for build confidence and character. And, we've seen over and over in studies that in Iowa, nobody has been injured due to a trans athlete, and it doesn't make the sports more dangerous. And one of the stories I always think back to about the unfairness of it is when I was in 5th grade, I was a pretty good wrestler and I was a pretty big, strong kid. And I got my ass actually whooped by a woman, or a girl. And she actually ended up getting 2nd place in the competition. And I guess that was my first experience that we can't just label people by their gender. And to me, it's insulting to both the trans people and the girls to think that they're not good enough to play.
Okay.
I would just ask a small follow-up question to that. A lot of the attacks that we're seeing now focus less on trans athletes. The rhetoric has moved beyond that into a more erasive type of rhetoric. They want to see my community, the trans community, erased from public life. And they're pushing legislation to do this. A lot of their bathroom bills to ban us from entering the bathrooms that align with our gender, to ban books that are about us and our lives. A lot of these things are specifically designer made to keep us out of public life and out of public attention. How would you combat these laws and this rhetoric?
Yeah, so first thing is we would have to federalize the anti-discrimination laws. And also we have to attack that excuse that, that it's corrupting people or making them something they're not, because that's just not true. And when somebody is born in a different body than the one that they should be in, my concern would be making them comfortable, not how everybody else feels about it. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to hurt anybody for somebody to actually get to be who they are. So there was not a protection law that would hit my desk or whatever that I would look the other way from. It's disgusting what's happening with the trans community and how they're being targeted and weaponized and being labeled as a cultural distraction when they're not distractions, they're human lives. And we have to look past it and stop calling it a distraction and stop calling it a social issue, because it's the issue of some record numbers of suicides. It's the issues of people not knowing if they're ever gonna be who they are. And one of the things that really has inspired me to get tougher on that portion of policy recently is the young male in Urbandale that recently took his life, and his mom posted the videos of his music, and you could hear the pain in his voice. And to me, that's just a failure of everyone that has built the policy that has shaped the fact that he was being attacked, and the fact that it was safe in his school for a teacher to misgender him. It goes a long way, but it is not a fight that I would ever back down from, whether it cost me from getting elected or it cost me from getting reelected. I just would not care.